this a little bit.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shir Adal Baruch Hashem. Erev Shabbos Kodesh Parshas Pinchas. Wow, Baruch Hashem. We're moving along in the year. We're coming close to the Rosh Hashanah. yeah. Mamish. Well, you have the 3 weeks, and then comes Elul, and that's it. It's quick. It's quick, right? Baruch Hashem. There's so many things to talk about Parshas Pinchas, but also it's very well. Actually, what we're going to learn now has a lot to do with Parshas Pinchas. Has a lot to do with Parshas Pinchas. We're going to learn now. We're in Likutey Halachos. We're learning Hilchos Netilas Yadayim, Halacha Vov, and this is a letter today, Lamed Zayin. So 6:37. Those that are following along inside. Okay. Now, first, we're going to talk about. We're talking a lot about this idea of Shotu Ha'am, the Loktu Shotu Shtus. We're talking about a lot about this idea of people controlling their minds, right, and taking control of their mind. So let's just talk. Let's outside. We all have bechira, right? Hashem gave us all bechira. We have free choice, free will to choose what we want to choose, right? We had that in the parsha with Pinchas also, right? That's why I said about that, right? In other words, they all had their 24. It's amazing. 24,000 died during the Makkah of Shevet Shimon, and then if we went to war with those that were involved in Baal Par, the Torah says 180,000. Well, it's 204,000 people because of the shagayon, the craziness that came about. It's unbelievable, huh? It was a tremendous, unbelievable. 204,000 people are recorded. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. Because Moshe Rabbeinu said, go, anyone that was involved in the Baal Par, go out and, yes?
Just a quick question. I know we had many Shvatim when we came out, but Erev Rav, what Shvatim did they associate?
They weren't part of it.
They weren't part of it.
No. Yeah.
They got killed.
That was the mistake. That if you could say Moshe Rabbeinu made a mistake, I don't know, but if you can say that you could say that was the mistake he made. That was his original mistake. Because he asked Hashem, I want to take out the air, they want to come out with us. And again, Moshe Rabbeinu thought he can help them. And the lower the person, the greater they can become. And Moshe Rabbeinu thought, wow, I got these guys, I can really make them great. Hashem said, I don't think that's a good idea. Hashem open borders. Yeah, open borders. Yeah. Now Hashem said to him, I don't think that's a good idea. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, I want to take them anyway. And then all the things that happened because really of the Erev Rav. Okay.
But they also got killed at Baal Pura, right?
Yeah. No, those that worshipped the Baal Par, they died.
I heard that.
They were all
that
killed.
Was the Shvat thing.
Yeah. It was all different. It was an Erev Rav, it was other people, whatever.
Yeah,
okay, It was 180,000. But where did it come from? How did the thing start? They started to think, well, the Medrash says that they actually set up a marketplace. The Midyanim they came there and they set up a marketplace, and they had tables with different items. They sold fabrics, and they had some vessels and different things, and it was a market, a yurid. They made a little yurid. And then what they did was they set up those tables, and they had old ladies that were running the tables. And there was a market, so everyone came, all the Jews came, and they wanted to see what they had a lot of money, but they didn't have they had nowhere to spend it, right? Jews had money. We had money, we took out of Mitzvah, we had a lot of money, but we had nowhere to spend it, right? So now we have, the market comes to town. This is not, in the desert. That was unique, right? The markets don't usually set up, and so they come there, and so they all went out to see what it was. And then the old lady would say to them, hey, I see, I have really the good stuff is in the tent behind me. I have all stored in the tent. Oh, really? You have better stuff there? Okay, let me go see. And that's how they got them lured in to the Baal Pa'ar and got them lured in to the thing. Because again, they knew if they would just put these very attractive ladies outside, the Jews wouldn't go there.
Right.
They wouldn't go there. So they lured them in. Oh, it's a market. The old lady, okay, it's okay. And then one thing led to the other. It's amazing. When you don't keep your guard up, your guard's not up. We're going to see now. What now? Then the Lamed Zayin. Kizer royin b'chush. We see and we can sense this. Sheyesh b'nei adam sheroyim mehem kama mine shegoyin mamish. You see, they do crazy things, right? You see, you see people out there that do mamish crazy things, right? So ruach shtus mamish. They're mamish involved in the ruach shtus, in that folliness, in that silliness. Yeah.
What are they talking about here?
What are they talking about? What do you mean?
What kind of foolishness?
Anything. Waiting online to go to a baseball game, sitting there for 3 hours, and it's amazing. I'm telling you things I had to see. I'm amazed. I'm amazed by it. Right? People stay up. They'll stay up here, even in Eretz Yisrael, right? It's the Super Bowl thing, right? They have to watch this. They stay up all night.
Yeah.
Stupid, right? It's the mama shikoyan. Well, who cares? Who cares?
Well, they did.
You got a bunch of guys in the basketball's the best. The guys are running around in their underwear, right? in the I mean, what is basketball?
But when they were waiting in line for the tickets, they were learning Torah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Halavai. No, but that's shigayon. People are involved in all kind of crazy, but that's good crazy. There's other craziness that's not so good, right? I mean, yeah.
I mean, and these were not small people. I mean, these people witnessed, coming out of Mitzrayim. I mean, the great miracles that Hashem performed. They saw
Well, the ones that came out of Mitzrayim, they already passed away. And this is the next generation now. This is the next generation. Some of them may have been from that too. The ones that you had Kaleb ben Yefune, Yeshua, but no, they had other ones, but I don't know. But in general, the other ones died out. It was there. This is at the end of the 40 years.
Right.
This takes place at the end of the 4 year. Okay, but now we're not talking about that in here. Here we're talking about just in general things we see in our lives, people we see that are doing things, and where did it come from? Where did that come from? Did they go off the deep end, so to say? How did that come about? But they're not totally crazy. Right? They're crazy. They do crazy things, but they're not totally crazy. They still have those sparks of knowledge. They still have something in their mind. They're overwhelmed by what they're involved in, but they still have some goodness in their mind. There's still something there. Yeah? And that causes them not to go completely crazy. Right? They go a little bit crazy, but they're not going completely crazy. Huh? But if a person goes and he starts now, he's doing all the crazy things, and then he starts learning philosophy, and he starts learning about other religions and things like that, then he could really go crazy. Right? So long as a person is still connected, right? That's what I think Rav Nassim is trying to say here. So long as the person is still connected to Torah, even though he's doing some foolish things, he'll still have a way, he'll still have something, a connection. Because we said that the tzaddik always teaches the person that Meloi chalaretz kevodo, right? That Hashem is in wherever foolishness you're involved in, whatever foolishness but Hashem is in that, He's there. So when you can reveal Hashem in that's your ticket out, right? But sometimes they get so lost, they go so far away, And they're not even thinking about that. They don't think it, everything's covered. It's still there. They still have that pintele yid inside them, of course. But it's so covered over, it's smothered. It's being smothered by all of this shtus. Ay. Okay. Rosh shtus shaloi. Azai nasa meshuga mamish. Then he can mamish go, because originally he had bechira, right? He had bechira to do the right thing and go in the right way and fill the mind with the right things, but he chose to do whatever he did. Because other people, that's why, Chazal, in Pirkei it says you have to make sure you choose good friends, right? Choose good friends, pick a good neighbor, choose good friends. Why? Because to have a Shoichin Toiv is someone that'll bring you in the right way, he'll help you. But if you're involved with people that are, who knows, it's very, very important. According to the person's averis that he did, that causes the person to go crazy. Right? The person goes crazy because of averis. He's always worried about it. He's thinking constantly. He has in his mind. He knows I'm going to have to pay for this. I'm going to have to do the. They say you do the crime, you have to do the time, right? So he knows I'm going to have to pay for this. Ki bal aveira hu meshuga kemay mevaya betchila sefer Likutey Moran Siman Aleph. The first lesson. Rabbi Kramer is teaching that lesson now. Yei seichel b'chol davar, right? Right. That's what the first lesson in Likutey Moran, to find this seichel. What is yei seichel b'chol? This is Hashem in every seichel is Hashem. Das seichel, knowing Hashem. There's Hashem in everything in the world. Anything you could find Hashem in everything. It's great. Really, if you really think about it, you can mamish find Hashem in anything in the world because miloi chalad is yesh seichel b'chol davar. Ayin sham ki ein adam oiver aveira ela im kain nichnas ruach shtus. We all know that the Gemara tells us that in Saita, right, a person won't do an aveira unless that the ruach shtus, a sense of foulness, comes into his mind, covers up his knowledge. And now he gets involved and he's thinking about that. And again, we learned about the koyach hadimya, the imagination, right? Remember we learned a lot about that, right? So the shigyon works together with the imagination, right? Person imagines something, and then the ruach shtus comes because now we have to figure out how am I going to do that? This thing, he saw this, he heard about this. Now he's thinking, how am I going to accomplish this now? Right? And that's where the ruach shtus, he lets the ruach shtus in. Okay, and according to the many averis that's found within him, right? And as we see with many people, it's really they should be totally crazy people, totally crazy. But Hashem has compassion on us. Umekayim datam, and He strengthens our das. He strengthens our knowledge. He helps us. Hashem doesn't want us to go off the deep end. He tries to help us as long as we want it, as if we'll be willing to listen and want to be helped. They say you can only help yourself if you want help, right? If a person's an addict, right? You can't help the person unless the person comes to the realization, I need help, right? He has to admit, I have this problem, right? I'm an alcoholic. The guy has to say he's a drug addict, whatever. He has to admit, I have this problem and I need help, right? That's the first step. Otherwise, you can't help the person. If the person doesn't admit anything, if the person doesn't admit they have that problem, whatever that problem may be, you can't help them. You have that reshima. You have those that little imprint still in the mind. There's something still there, and you can tap into that. You can always tap into what's in the mind. The person has to stop and think. What am I doing? Right? Stop for a second. What am I doing? How did I get myself involved in this? Stop. Connect to that reshimut. Connect to that little knowledge. B'datem nimshach haramozim that come from the hints. that come from that come from the different levels the person's on, and he has that or that's misavev, right? And he has that or that's surrounding. He has the remes. That Hashem, the remes that Hashem is with him no matter where he is, and reminds him that. We have to always remember, wherever we go, Hashem is there with me. You have to remember that. It's very simple. We have a neshama, right? The neshama we know is the chelik elikam ima, right? So if I went to a place, and I'm there, and I'm alive in that place, that means I took my neshama with me, right? That means I brought Hashem with me. Right? Hashem is there with me. Yeah.
Good question. Before a person does a sin, I think the two top parts of his soul leave. What's the Yechida and
Chaya and Yechida.
yeah, they leave. They can't.
Well, most people today are not even connected to the Chaya and Yechida. We're happy. We're happy if you have nefesh. You have nefesh and neshama, ruach, chai, yechida. You have the 5 different levels. Okay, but we're happy if we have the nefesh and the ruach and today. Yeah, the ruach is good. But yeah, what he's saying is that of course they also say the part of the neshama leaves when the person's doing it. They also his neshama, part of the neshama leaves also. He doesn't want to be involved in that. He doesn't want to be involved in that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Okay. So he has those remozim. They come from the tznitzis, those little sparks of kedusha. Shaydezeh mevinim shaloi lotzeis midatim legamri. So long as a person remembers that and they know the teaching, that no matter how far, in other words, the person wasn't paying attention to what he was seeing. Right. It all starts with what a person sees. Right, the Torah says, don't go after your heart's desire, don't go after your eyes. Right? Because then the person sees and he starts to imagine, right? And he gets filled with that ruach shtus, right? And then he winds up doing everything. But so if he reminds himself, wait a second, the Torah says, why? Leman tizkuru. So you could remember. You can remember your Torah, right? The greatest thing is watch what you see. Torah tells you. You want to remember what you learn? Watch what you see. Watch what you see. Okay. Ki mi shenichshal v'nafal l'ruach shtus. Yesh le'yadayim b'chira. So someone that fell to the ruach shtus, he still has free choice. At any time he can pull himself out. He doesn't have to stay in there. He can pull himself out. He can strengthen himself. He can pick himself up, dust himself off, and he can get out of there. Someone came to the Rebbe and said, I'm crazy. I have craziness. If you want, you won't be crazy. It's up to you. It's your bechira. It's your free choice. Do you want to go after your silliness? Do you want to go after that craziness? That's your choice. Right? It says paiskin. Right? A person wants to do an aver, it says paiskin. They open it up, they let him go. Go. Yeah.
Maybe what specific koach did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bless the Yetzer Hara to entice? Because obviously, the original, Nachash didn't go to Adam because this is sheker, this is he couldn't touch him. So he wanted for his life. I'm just curious to know how can we sense the Yetzer Hara is trying to do some cunning way.
Because a person can always, we learned this idea that before you do anything, right, you always have to make it every action you do, you're coming to a fork in the road. Right? When you come to a fork in the road, I can either go to the right, I can go to the left, right? Make a decision, right? You have to ask yourself, if what I'm about to do now, is this going to make Hashem happy? what I'm about to do now, whatever that is this going to make Hashem proud of me? Right? He's with me, right? Right. So so long as a person remembers that Hashem is with him, right? If he remembers that, so then he'll want to. What would Hashem want me to do? Right? But if a person doesn't know that Hashem is with him, so then
He didn't have to guess either. He could just ask Hashem.
Of course he
What do
can.
you want me to do?
Yeah, of course you can ask Hashem. Of course, Hashem, I need help.
He'll tell you what to do if you listen.
Yeah. Of course, but we're saying here's a guy came to the Rebbe and told him I have craziness in me. He said, if you don't want to be crazy, you don't have to be crazy. It's up to you. It's bechira. V'hoven zeh miyoid ki gam hameshuga mamish kishemakin oisai heitiv muchrach lahashlich hashigoin machmas yira. And again, if you hit the guy gets patched enough, the guy will wake up and he'll fall back to the Yiras Hashem. That's what it's all about. We say every morning, Reish is Chachma, Yiras Hashem. Right? Reish is Chachma. What is that? The first line of defense in my wisdom is fear of Hashem. Right? Reish is Chachma. Right? I have to have Yira. If I have Yiras Hashem, we said a person can be a big, he could study a lot of Torah and everything, but you have a lot of people that study Torah, they do a lot of crazy things. I mean, right? Because they don't have Yiras Hashem. You need that Yira. You need to fall back on the Yira. And what is the Yira? The best Yira? To know that Hashem is with you. Right? If a person knew what that his parents, his mother's watching him, right? His father's watching him, right? Would he do anything wrong? He knows he'll get in trouble, right? If a person knew his wife is standing there watching him, would he do anything wrong?
Naturally.
Huh?
I naturally do something wrong no matter what.
No, but if you realize it, but at that thing that you did wrong, whatever that is, if your wife was standing there, sitting there with you, would you do that same thing wrong?
It depends. Sometimes.
Okay.
But I think it's not only that. I think it's also that if we know it's from Hashem and He gave it to us for a reason, because He wants us to then change the way we're acting or behaving.
Yeah. Okay. I understand, but there's still we have to do the right thing.
Yeah, of course.
A guy can fool himself. Yeah, I'm doing this thing here. Hashem really wants me to do this. The guy's doing there's a loisas in the Torah. I don't do that. But Hashem, the fact that I'm doing it, Hashem really wants me to do it because that's why I'm doing it.
Oh no, I'm not saying that.
Right. Yeah.
I'm saying.
I thought you were speaking about addiction just a minute ago. About My question is it intrinsically in each and every one that we're addicted to something? Meaning, I heard someone tell me that a person can also be addicted to Torah study.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Which is kind of sounds nice, right? However, sometimes Hashem wants you, for example, to let's say help out in the household and be there.
Of course, okay. Yeah. And you could do something else, but you can still always. I'm thinking about how am I going to learn more Torah, right? That's what that means, right? An addict is thinking, how can I get more liquor? How can I get another joint? How can I get more whatever? Right? He's thinking about that. This guy is an addict in Torah. How am I going to learn more Torah? That's in his mind. That's great.
I think.
How have I? We should all have that problem. We should all have that.
I think what he's suggesting, if you learn Torah and you're addicted to it, but then you don't get married and you don't have children.
Well, he didn't say that. You could still help out in the house. And while you're helping out in the house, you're thinking, how am I gonna learn more Torah? You're still doing what you gotta do, but that's in your mind.
Right. See, key is you still have to do what's right. So you have to
of course. Right. And that's what his Bible is all about. Speak to Hashem. He'll guide you on, hey, Hashem, I have this, and this. Hey, I need to know, what should I do? Right? Ask Hashem. That's what his Bible is all about. Talk to Hashem. Talk to Him in your own words. Spend time talking to Hashem in your own words. Ask Him, hey, I need advice. Right? Hashem, I need advice. Right? Amazing. Mamash. Okay, umikol zeh yochel ha'adam haroitzin l'rachim alatzmai be'emes lizgabe. If a person wants to take a little compassion on himself, we always look out, people have compassion on other people, right? They want to help other people. You feel compelled, you want to help you. But how about we try to sometimes help ourselves? Right? Help ourselves, right? Mikol zeh yochel ha'adam haroitzin l'rachim alatzmai. If a person wants to take and have a little compassion on himself, because he knows he has a little bit of das. He has something there. He reminds him. It's something nagging in the back of his mind. He's doing what he's doing, but there's always something nagging. Hey, what are you doing? You shouldn't be doing that. Come on, there's something there. He knows there's something there. And he says, you know what? I'm going to pay attention to that because it's enough. I realize I got to stop. Because the tzaddikim and the teachings of the tzaddikim are always there, lingering, always there. And it's always there, and they're waking up again. And he gives them these great advice that's very, very deep, but tmimus and very, very, very pure. Ashrei she'oiches, by fortune is he that grabs onto these advice of the tzaddikim. And the greatest advice is to know Meloi Chol Haaretz Kavodai. Hashem is there. He's everywhere. You can run, but you can't hide, right? You can run, but Hashem is there. You can't hide from Hashem. But a person has to think about, hey, how am I going to help myself? Right? If he doesn't think about that, it's not going to help. All of this, merumes beside kavonas hasfira. All this is hinted to in the counting of the sfira. How do you like that? This whole introduction here, right? All of this is right because again, we're trying to get out of the shigon, the craziness of life. We're trying to raise ourselves up. We're trying to go from the 49th level of impurity to come to the 50th gate of purity on Shavuos, right? The main thing is to purify us from the impurity and the ruach shtus, right? That's what we're trying to get out of. We're trying to get out of that whole Mitzrayim mindset, right? The whole Mitzrayim, that slave mentality of Mitzrayim, that where I'm enslaved to my desires. I'm enslaved to my to any whim that comes up to me. I need to do that, right? Shakol hu al pi kol, right? All of this is because based on the remes that he still has, that little dust that still remains inside him. And remind yourself about this, right? He knows this, right? The toivus atzmach. I'm going to do this for my own good for eternity, right? What we do has there's big ramifications, big repercussions for what I'm doing here, right? What I'm doing here is I'm setting my state, like the Chavetz Chaim said. We're here in this world. This world is the prosdor to get to the trachlit, right? What's the prosdor? The prosdor is the corridor to get to the palace. I'm trying to get to the palace. The palace is Gan Eden. Right? But you have to get through the prosdor. You have to get through the corridor to get to the right? Want to get in there. That's this world. So what we do in this world makes a big difference. It makes a very, very big difference. We said there's a part of our neshama is in this world. At the same time, there's a part of our neshama in the next world. Right? We said Yaakov is down here, Yisrael is up there. Right? So what I'm doing is really affecting everything. But you have to remind yourself that, hey, it counts. Right? A person, we forget that the most precious commodity we have is time. Right? Time is the most precious commodity. So we have to use every moment, and that's what Arichas Yamim we learned this, right? What's Arichas Yamim? I take my time and I make my time, I make my time eternal. Right? Because when you take your time and you use your time for Avodas Hashem, In any what case the avodas Hashem is, it doesn't matter. It can even be you're going to work. It can be you're at work, but you're following the laws of Choshen Mishpat. You're following the laws of Shulchan Aruch. You're following the laws that I'm very careful. Midbar Shekatir. I don't tell lies. I tell everything truthfully. I know Hashem is with me. And I understand that everything that I'm going to do in business is only because Hashem wants me to have it anyway. So then that's a Maisa mitzvah. Right? Because he's going out and he's reminding himself of Hashem during his day. You have to draw upon yourself this rachmanis, this compassion. We have to draw upon ourselves this compassion. Ki im ata loi tirachem alecha mi yachmal alecha. This is a very nice, important statement here, right? If you're not going to help yourself, who's going to help you, right? Right? Who's going to help you? And we have to remind ourselves about this. It's a very important thing to understand this concept right here. This concept is very, very important. You know, we have all of our friends and we have our family in this world, right? But really, who do we really have? Who do we really have? We have Hashem, right? And then after the person leaves the world, right? So the family buries the person and they leave, right? Leave him there. Right? Could have been the most beloved guy in the whole world, right? But they bury him and everyone goes home. He stays there. I understand, but who do you really have? I'm trying to understand. Who does the person really have? Right? And then they'll remind themselves about the person once in a while. Oh, it's the yard site. They'll remind themselves again, but you really have to worry about ourselves. We have to work on ourselves. That's why he's saying you have to have compassion on yourself. Because who's going to help you if you don't help yourself? People will help you up to a certain point. But you want to really help yourself, it's really you that's going to have to do this. It's really the person has to want to help themselves.
How do I balance that?
With what?
Selfish.
What does that mean? Oh, how do you balance that not to be selfish?
Yeah.
Oh, because helping yourself means you're doing mitzvahs for other people also. Right? Helping myself, part of the Torah says to do gemilas chasadim, right? I have to do chesed, right? That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do chesed for people, right? If I can loan money to people, I can give charity, I can be nice to people, I can be nice to my family. It's a mitzvah, right? All these are mitzvahs. But I realize that I'm doing this because I'm trying to help myself. Right? You understand that? It's not a stira. It's not a stira at all. But you have to realize I'm in this for myself because at the end of the day, I only have myself to help. So of course I do everything I have to do according to the Torah, how the Torah guides me to do it. And all those things I'm doing are really helping me the same way they say. When the ani comes to your door, right? The ani comes to your door, right? And you give the ani money. The ani's giving you a bigger favor. He's doing you a bigger favor that he came to your door than the money you gave him. Right? The fact that the ani it's a bigger favor. He's doing a bigger favor for you. You don't realize, right? Chazal tell us that.
I know.
I know it's hard
Then
to...
this guy can go and say, "Yeah, I'm going to go do so many favors now. I'm going to so many doors, The guy who's actually collecting.
But then again, Hashem is working on that. When Hashem knows this guy is going to come to your door, right? He's not doing it because he wanted to come to your door. Hashem sent him there. You have to remember that. But you're thinking that the guy said, "Oh, I'm going to help a lot of people, so I'll help more people. I'll go to more doors." Okay, good. Okay. But that doesn't help. But again, I'm worrying about myself here. Forget about these other guys. Now the guy came to my door. Now the ball's in my court. What do I do now? Right? Do I want to get a lot of brachas? You can get 7 brachas. You get many, many brachas when you give the tzedakah, right? You get more brachas the way you give it to the person. right? Two people the ani can come to two people, two houses, right? And the two people can give them the same amount of money, right? The same amount of money. One guy gets 6 blessings, whatever, because he gave his. The other guy walks away with wow, because he was nice to the ani. Right? The guy comes to can I offer you? Maybe you're hungry. Can I offer you a banana? You want an apple? Do you like a drink of water? Would you like to use the bathroom? Right? These guys, think about it. These guys are walking around all day long. They don't always have the. So would you like to? You could be nice to the person. Doesn't cost anything. Doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. Doesn't cost anything to give someone a smile. Does it? Doesn't cost anything. It's free. Yes, you have to, stretch your muscles a little bit, okay, or whatever. But it doesn't cost you anything, right? You get a little exercise, right? You give a smile, you get exercise. See that? Yeah. וכבר הידיע לך מרחוק מעצם הרחמנוסי עד שבכוחי הגדול יש לי כוח לרחם עליך ואוהב מאוד מאוד. He says you have to really, really know this. This is a very, 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 very important lesson for us to really understand. That there's always those remuzim that are still there. And every Aveira only comes about because of the Ruach Shtus. Right? As the Gemara tells us in Saita. Right? In Nichnas Ba Ruach Shtus, the Shtus comes into the person, clouds the person's mind, so he shouldn't remind himself of those remuzim, those little hints that are still there. Right? But again, if the person thinks, hey, what am I doing? Stop.
You don't have to be crazy.
They say stop, think, remember. Right? Stop, think, remember. You ever hear those words? Stop, think, remember. Right? If the person's about to do something, let him stop. Wait a second. Think, remember. What do I remember? Malay chalaretz kavodei. Hashem is here with me. Whatever I'm about to do now, I have to remember Hashem is here with me. And now Hashem is watching how I do whatever I'm doing. And that's the greatest thing that a person can do. To remind himself of that. To remind himself of that. There's a story I just reminded myself of. There was trying to remember the product. Yeah, maybe, okay. I was trying to, okay. There was in a village in Europe, there was a person that was he was a big tzaddik, and he got sick. And they needed to bring in a doctor from Vienna, or from the big city, and they didn't have the money to help. There was one guy that had some means, and he said that he took upon himself that he's going to pay and bring in the doctors to help and he did. Paid a lot of money to bring in the doctors, and they brought the medicine for the person. It was good. And then the story goes on that over time, this big veer that helped out this side, he felt so good about himself. And then there was a what do you call it? There was a malach that came to him. Malach came to this veer, and he had a book. So the Gvir asked him, what's in your book? He says, I have written down the book, all of the chasadim, all of the kind acts that people did. He says, can I see the book? So he says, okay. He opens the book. He sees his page. Oh, it says that he brought the doctors in and he saved the person. Wow, very good, very good. He has a half a page, right? And he turns the page, and he sees there's a poor person has a full page. He has a full page. What did he do? I got a half a page, and he got a full page? What did he do? So he says, well, this ani was a very poor person that the neighbor needed to, they were making a chasna, and they needed a couple of extra rubles. They needed to buy some fish for the wedding. So they came to me. They came to this poor person, and the poor person really didn't have enough money for himself. But okay, it's a mitzvah to the achnasas kala, right? It's a mitzvah to help out for the wedding. So he took his own money, and he gave it to them. So the Via says, but he only gave them like 10 rubles, yeah, but that was all he had. And nobody knows that he did that. That was matan b'seisa. Nobody knows. He says, every time people see you, oh, you were the one that gave the money, you saved the rabbi. Oh, wow, look how great this guy is, right? And every time you see the rabbi, you feel, I helped him, right? And this is how it works in Shemayim. It works on what we do sincerely, right? You give something sincerely for the sake of giving, not because you want your name in lights, right? You understand that? Right? A lot of people like to give money, they put their name on the building, right? They do that, right? Right? They love that, right? They have their name on the building, right? They say every time they ride by, wow, see that? I gave all the money for that building. It's great. Don't get me wrong, that's great. They're all great. Keep doing that. But more important, when you give money to somebody, right? When the guy comes to your door, nobody knows what you gave the guy, and you're nice to the person, right? You're nice to the person, you're getting a bigger page. You understand? It's not how much you give. Hashem knows, Hashem has all the money in the world. He has all the money. It doesn't matter how much it is. It's how you gave it. It's what you did. You understand? It's how you do something. Right? And like we said here, the greatest thing is to have mercy on the person themselves. The person has to realize what I'm doing really counts. To remember, everything I do really counts. It's not like I'm doing something and there's no, there's a cause and there's an action and a reaction, right? When I do this, something happens from it. Now the question is, am I doing something good or something bad's going to come from it? Always ask the person, he should always ask himself, if I do this, is this going to make Hashem happy with me? Or is this going to make Hashem upset with me? Right? Before you do anything. Right? Well, how is Hashem going to view this? How does Hashem, He's with me, right? Hashem, we have the chelik, we have the neshama, chelik elikami mal inside of us, which means wherever I go, Hashem is there. So I have to ask myself, hey, is this what Hashem wants me to do? And if Hashem would like me to do that, so then go ahead and do it. If not, think, remember, hey, why am I doing that? Right? Okay, that's our lesson for today. It's a very important thing to remember, right? Again, this is connected again to Parshas Pinchas, right? All those people saw those things, and they were, this is good. And they went from one to the other, to the other, to the other, right? The main thing is, we said we have the different lines of defense, right, in the mind, right? Right? We have 4 sections of the mind. We have 3 lines of defense, right? Right? Chochma, Bina, and Das, right? Chochma, Bina, Das, right? And then it's protecting the keter, right? So that's what we have to always do. We have to always remind ourselves what we're doing really, really does count. And if Shevet Shimon would have realized that also, and not let the Shigaon get into them, that cuckoo craziness get into them, we would have saved 204,000 people. Unbelievable, right? 24 and 180,000. Unbelievable. Right? Moshe Rabbeinu said, go and kill out those that were involved in the Baal Tor. Unbelievable.
There were 180,000 involved with that?
Yeah. No, 200, there were 204,000.
Yeah.
24,000 died with the plague. 180,000 were slaughtered. Yeah.
Who slaughtered them?
We did. The Jewish people.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
How did we know which ones were involved in Baal Peor? How would you identify those people?
Moshe Rabbeinu, I don't know. Maybe it was written on their forehead, lit up. I don't listen. I don't know. I can only tell you what Chazal tell us, and I believe it. B'emunah Shalem, right? Right. It's one of the 13 principles of faith. When I read that all the Torah that I have is the same Torah that was given to Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai, right? So whatever, however, I don't know, but that's what they say, right? Those that were involved in the Baal Par, right? When it came to the Cheda Ego, it was the same thing. Those that were involved in it, they died. I don't know how they figured that out. I don't know.
They had bad smell.
Huh?
They had bad smell.
Well, that's true. We learned that the Aveira causes a Reyach Ra. Right? It causes a terrible foul odor. Okay. All right, let's learn Kitzur Shulchan Aruch now. It's in Baruch Hashem. So we're learning the laws in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're in the laws of when you how do you make up your tefillah if you forgot a tefillah? Right? We said if you forgot it, or the person was an ones, right? He was the best example I can give you is the guy had stomach trouble, right? He was in the restroom, right? He couldn't get out of the restroom, right? Happens sometimes, right? You can't get out of the and then meanwhile the time of mincha passed, the time of chakras passed, whatever. So then what do you do? Right? What do you do? Right? Okay, so today
You gotta see a doctor then.
you see a doctor.
No, he's in the bathroom.
He missed chakras, mincha.
Something like that.
You're undergoing an operation or something,
Say what?
You're undergoing an operation. You're not being conscious.
Of course, no. So that's a different story. No, so again,
Same thing.
it's the same thing, but you can only make up one tefillah, right? You can't. If you miss two, you can only make up the last one that you missed. You can't make up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Right. That's not like when it comes to being Mahaveh Sedra, right? There were tzaddikim that had problems for a while, and then when they got better, they caught back up on all the parshas that they left. That you can do anytime, right? Being Mahaveh Sedra, Shnai Mikra Echad Targum, very important, and that you can make up anytime.
Curious to ask a question. Say you're about you, and you obviously didn't daven a certain part of your life.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
Why?
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because Hashem was the one that set you up for that part of your life, and then it only gets counted for when you learn that there's such a thing as tefillah, right? That's when it gets counted. You don't have to worry about what was before, because it was Hashem that put the person in that situation, in that family where they grew up, and brought him to where the person is at this point. You understand? So it's not. Don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about that. For sure not. Okay, so today we're in, it's Chaf Aleph. Din Misha Lo Yispalal Hayich Yishalmena, right? That's the thing. If I didn't daven, how do I pay it back? Okay, so today we're up to Hey, I believe, right? Yeah, today we did Musaf yesterday. Okay. Hey. Ein Tashlumin L'Tfila Shehivsid Ela Bizman Tfila Asmucha Lo. A very important one. There's no tashlim. You can't make what? Yeah, I did it yesterday. Listen to the recording. Yeah, we did yesterday. We did that yesterday. Yeah. Ein tashlumin l'tfila shehivsid ela bizman tfila hasmucha lo. Right. So if you miss the tfila, you can only make it up in that time segment of the tfila that it's close by. Right. You can't. You can't. Right. Oh, he's going to say now. Avaloi b'shah she'eino izman tfila. But you can't make it up when it's not the Zman of Tefillah. You understand? You have to do it within the time of when you can daven the next Tefillah. For example, next Tefillah, right? A person forgot, he went to sleep, he didn't daven Ma'ariv, right? So he can count, he can daven, he can make up the Tefillah of Ma'ariv with his chakras, right? We said, what do? The person then should say Shmon Esrei. He says Tachnon, right? And he says Ashrei, right? He says Ashrei, he stops, says the Shmon Esrei that he missed from Ma'ariv. Then he goes back to say Lamanatseach, and he says Volotzion, and then he says the Yom, and then he does the Karbonet, and then he finishes davening. That's how he does that. But you can only do that while the time of Shachris is. Right? You can't wait to go, you wait till after, and you can look on this man, it tells you Zman Tefillah, the Mogen Avram, it tells you the Zman Tefillah for the Gra, right? The Balatanya, Shulchan Aruch Harav follows usually the Gra. That's the same thing. And we learned that's based on the difference of, do you go based on Alos HaShachar, or do you go based on the first star, or do you go from Misha Yakir? Remember we learned that, right? Misha Yakir, right? When it's the time of morning, where you see a friend from a little distance, he can recognize your friend, Misha Yakir, right? That's a difference, right? So whenever you're going either by the Magen Avram, or you're going based on the sheet of the Gra, Shulchan Aruch Harav, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, so you can only do that. Aval loy b'shah she'eino zman tefillah. When it's not zman tefillah, you missed it. You can't daven that tashlum when it's not the zman of tefillah. You understand? So it has to be within that time. So you make sure you daven shachris. That way you can make up the two tefillahs. If you wait later, then you can't make up the tefillah. Perfect example, right? A person did whatever, came Friday night, right? He came Friday night. Let's say he's going to a Chabad house, right? So they daven over there 10 o'clock in the morning chakras, right? You know that, right? They daven 10 o'clock. Okay? So he has a problem, right? He's not going to make Zman chakras. It's after the Zman chakras, right? 10 o'clock's after the Zman chakras. So now he can't, can he daven chakras? Maybe. But he certainly won't be able to make up his tefillah that he missed from Ira. You understand? I'm giving you a practical example. Right, you understand? Keep going. Im shoah harbe achar she'ispalel tefillah shehi chayves shah. So let's say he davened chakras, and then he's supposed to make up his tefillah, but he waited. He procrastinated. He waited a little bit more from that, and he lost that zman, right? Eina yochel ispalel oy tashlumei tefillah shehifsid. He can't then make up that tefillah. You understand?
When the time for chakras is done, he can't make
right.
it.
You know, he was supposed to do it right away. Right. He's in the middle of davening chakras, so now say the tachnan, say the ashrei, now do your tefillah. But the guy said, I have time. I'll do a little later. And before he knows it, the time ran away. He lost his opportunity. You can only you have to be involved in tefillah at that time segment of tefillah. And within that time segment, you can then pay it back. You can't pay it back if the time passed. You follow? Because since I'm involved in tefillah now, so then I can make up what I missed beforehand. But if the zman of tefillah ran away, it passed me, so then I'm not involved in tefillah, I can't make up my tefillah that I missed. You follow? You understand? Yeah. No, just do it, be proactive and do it right away. Don't procrastinate, so you'll lose the opportunity. Right? So then if it's the time of tefillah and he's davening, he can then make up what he missed as well. And we should all daven and never forget, and Hashem should help us that we can always meet this man, so we don't have to come to these halachos. However, these things can happen, right? These things can happen. Like we said, a person is involved in, he realized he has enough time, it was before mincha, and he was going to do something, and this is only supposed to take him 10 minutes, and he has at least a half an hour, right? So we said that if he started, he's allowed to start that thing. But let's say that thing extended longer. Right? He didn't realize he got involved in it. It took longer. Then he lost his man at tefillah. So he said because he started at the heter, he's allowed to make that up as well. Remember we said that, right? Right? Okay, so we should all have a wonderful Shabbos, and we should all hear Besaris Tovos. And thank you everyone for joining. Kol Tuv.